Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and today I want to talk to you about the Warlock buffs that were announced for this Tuesday, I think the 19th or so, to Affliction and Destruction. Some interesting ones for Affliction, more AoE based, and Destro's getting some love. It needs a lot of love, but it's getting there. So today we're looking at that, talking about what it might mean in combat, Mythic Plus, all that, and just going from there. Weak Course add-ons, links down below to Twitch and Discord if you want them. They're all for free for you guys, and yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so getting into the Affliction changes here. Aff and Destro are both being buffed on Tuesday. Affliction is the first one to hit on here. And honestly, all the buffs essentially are to Affliction in AoE, which is a bit peculiar because Affliction's already very good at AoE with Seed. So, Doom Blossom you're playing. Typically in AoE, I've seen builds playing Dark Harvest at times. If not, you're playing regardless Soul Eater, half-minute cooldown. With your tier bonus, it gives you an empowered, 3 empowered Seed cast, which do work with So now. The bug was fixed. Every half a minute. The AoE is already very strong. The aura buff that Aff got a week or so ago did also increase seed damage. So, they're buffing, I guess, AoE again, which is wild. I'll take it. It's sort of like a free buff in a sense. But I think the bigger issue with Aff and Plus, and I wouldn't even say like an issue in a sense, it is, I guess, a bit of an issue though, is, I guess, sort of its lack of single target when you're playing a build like this, right? Your options here basically are Dread Touch or Doom Blossom. If you're playing Dread Touch and Plus as Affliction, just play Demonology. Just play Demonology in general still. I think it's very good, if not meta, after the nerfs are coming into Mage and things today. Or, sorry, the Demon Hunter and things. But either way, there's this weird situation of where you want Dread Touch, like, you want a single target element, another one in this kind of profile, but to get it, you have to drop Doom Blossom. Dropping Doom Blossom drops C damage by essentially, what, 15%, whatever it is. You don't drop Doom Blossom for the most part in Mythic Plus. Once again, if you do, just by Demonology. But either way, a 10% buff to Seed of Corruption, which Seed, so very big. Your tier bonus also increasing Seed damage with Soul Rot cast. The big changes here, though. Soul Rot now applies up to 4 additional targets. So it means, so basically, if there's 5 mobs, the one that you target will, you'll apply Soul Rot to it, but it will hit 4 additional targets for a total of 5. That's how Soul Rot works. Even right now, when it's 3, it'll hit your main target and then 3 surrounding ones for a total of 4. Now, the buff with this is interesting because they've also increased Dark Harvest, this talent right here, which they nerfed in beta, I think, a bunch. Dark Harvest now increases crit strike and haste by 4% per target hit, was 2.5. So not only are they increasing the percent by 1.5%, they're also increasing the target. I guess you can hit 5 targets now, not 4. So what it looks like currently in retail, it's pretty bad. It's been bad all expansion, but it's being buffed now. Essentially, you can hit 4 targets max currently, 3 and 1 on retail for 2.5% each, so 10%. With 4 targets plus 1, so 5 total, Florida math, and 4%, that is 20%. So they've essentially doubled the impactfulness of Dark Harvest with this buff. And keep in mind, this happens every half a minute with your 2-piece, 4-piece, with Soul Rot and Gluttony right here. So, I think back to Shadowlands when you had Dark Harvest with Field of Blossoms and I think it was Dreamweaver with Soul Rot, all that stuff, right? You had a huge haste amp. It was like a bloodlust basically every minute with Soul Rot, right? It was 5% back then. Now it is 4. But, well, 4, good God, it is 4, meaning like this, not like this. But regardless, I believe the haste was multiplicative back in the day, so essentially it's more than 10% of the haste. But either way, it's a cool buff to like the interactions of Soul Rot and Dark Harvest, and it's going to make Aff just pipe when it comes to AoE. It's going to be really, really strong. But once again, when it comes to Plus, it's going to be a bit awkward because in the end, you're a little lacking in single target, I guess, compared to Demonology. Even with that being the case, Demo's damage profile is pretty good. So we'll see where it goes. But either way, if you like Aff and AoE and stuff, Aff is probably the burstiest spec in the game when it comes to AoE damage, with Dark Harvest and things post-nerf. I guess post-buff, sorry. The question is, what do you pull for Dark Harvest here? Your real options are going to be Dark Glare, Haunt, or Crescendo. And it's tough, because if you pull Haunt, you're losing more single target. If you pull Dark Glare, it's still a pretty awkward cooldown, but it does bring some value in a lot of spots with dot extension, even in single target. And Crescendo is pretty big for just, honestly, well, big-ish. You're not playing Dread Touch, but still it feels solid. I'm probably going to start with pulling Crescendo and putting it here, like this initially, but I will admit that I have not played Aff in a while in Keys. This could be a wrong play. There's even times you want Wrath of Consumption at the same time. So it literally could possibly maybe be an angle of just pulling Dark Glare and playing Dark Harvest we used to. We'll see what happens. Not really sure. Gonna experiment more next week when the buffs come in, but overall, Aff AoE looking very, very solid post-buff. Now, when it comes to destruction, it is also receiving some buffs. However, Destro is not as good of a spot, I would say, in general, as Aff is in plus, and honestly, Demo's better than both of them. So, Rain of Fire damage is going to be increased by 12%. You also have Cataclysm damage being increased by 25%, which is cool to see because this build here has been seeing a decent bit of play in plus recently for a handful of reasons. Inferno sort of not falling out of favor, but being a bit less, I guess, favorable. Wilfred's nerf for flatline CDR. A lot of dungeons this tier aren't like as mass AoE based. Just in general, Kata being better for those faster snap dungeons or faster snap dungeon. Also, this Immolate buff here is a little applicable when it comes to playing Kata, I guess in a sense, because you are applying 8 Immolates essentially quickly. But yeah, it's sort of like I'm glad to see Kata back in the mix regardless. I think you play a mix of both Kata and Inferno this season still, but the Rain of Fire buff will take it in general for whether you're playing Rain or Kata. Kata buff is nice just to see around Herbalist with Cataclysm. Immolation damage from Infernal and Blast for me increased by 25%. So, I mean, for the most part, everyone's just been playing this build here. For the most part, like 3-minute builds back. You're not really seeing a lot of builds playing like this, just because honestly, like, while it does get you 2-minute Infernal and things, you don't get Avatar, you're missing other points here and there for random things, you have no one to Rift. It's just sort of awkward, So most everyone's shifted back to the 3-minute Infernal build from what I've seen in Plus, and honestly, I think it's fine. Your Infernal is still pretty unimpactful. This could mean a bit of a buff. I mean, it is a bit of a buff to Infernal Brand, but Infernal Brand is just still terrible. It's still very, very bad. It needs to be like basically a 10% bump on Brand itself to be good. But either way, it's there. Both your Infernal and your Blasphemies, so that's solid. Blasphemy, solid in AoE, all that stuff. Build feels good to play. And Immolate damage also increased by 10%. So, I mean, in single target, sort of applicable. There's a baseline buff to Immolate, I believe, at the start of this patch as well. So there's that. You also have, Scalding Flames buffing a bit more also on stuff. So Immolate's getting a lot of buffs. Kata getting some attention is nice. In the end, it's still going to be, I think, Demo, Aff, Destro. But they're addressing certain areas, I guess, of sort of semi-need, I suppose. I think Destro's issues sort of just lie in, like, its talent selection with, like, Dimensional Rift being forced for your tier bonus, Capstone and other issues here and there. But attention's being given to Destro, which is good. I haven't seen Sims in this in single target. Not very big, obviously. I don't really care about the AoE Sims in a sense. AoE Sims are just like, it's going to be better, obviously. But it depends so much on, like, pull size, cooldowns, what you're doing, all that. But yeah, so I guess it's sort of applicable in single target in a sense. Single target applicability. These are both like AoE based, but yeah, for the most part, solid changes, I guess, all around. I wish they would have addressed Aff's single target a bit more. Like just to, hit on that, even though we're in the Destro part of the video. But overall, I think it's tough because you're in a world of either Doom Blossom or Dread Touch. You can't really take both. And if you're playing Dread Touch, just play Demo and Plus. But yeah, hey, if you're a fan of Cataclysm and Destro in general, well, it's getting some love. But hopefully more, at least change-wise, coming maybe in 10.2.6 or War Within, which is hopefully a few months away from Alpha. We shall see. But at least there's one thing, and I like playing with Kata and Plus. So, glass half full, Kata's pretty cool. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully, if you had any questions about the changes that are coming in on Tuesday, what it might mean for Warlock and Mythic Plus and rating and all that, this video might have answered that for you. I think for the most part, it's still going to be a Demo Mythic Plus meta. Demo's good, and after these nerfs are coming into Havoc and things, albeit I've heard they're not massive and stuff, but I think Hopeful was talking about it recently that the meta could literally be Mage, Demo Warlock, Aug Evoker, Aug, unsurprisingly, Demo Hunter for Tank Vengeance, and X Healer, right? Seems pretty solid. We'll see where it goes. Demo's looking good in Plus, but at the same time, Destro is going to be a little better, I guess. Still need some help. Kata getting buffed is nice. The synergy with, Immolate is nice, and, instant AoE applications for Immolate. And Aff's going to obliterate an AoE. But once again, that weird single target versus AoE part of Aff, well, it's the world we live in. So if you guys have any questions or comments, put them down below in the comment section. I'll be sure to get back to you. Like always, weekly rewards or add-ons, links to Twitch and Discord down below if you want them. At the same time, before we end the video, like always, want to give a huge shout out to my patrons. We're also supporting on Patreon. Thank you a million times, guys. I really appreciate it. If you're looking at supporting on Patreon, should be a link up here, as well as down below in the video description. Now, like I said, I'm a bit surprised that Aff didn't get touched when it came to single target, but I think a lot of it is just due to the fact that when it comes to like, they buff the AoE. When it comes to like trying to buff Aff's, I guess, single target in Mythic Plus setting, it's sort of tough because you're in that spot, like I talked about with Dread Touch and Doom Blossom both sharing a choice node. And in the end, you're typically playing Doom Blossom and Plus. You're playing Dread Touch as Aff and Plus just by Demonology. It's better. So it likely is maybe like just a 11.0 thing if they want to address that weird, one of the other kind of issue with Affliction. In the end, hopefully we're back to UA Spender AF in War Within, but we'll see where it goes. So all that being said, thanks for watching, guys. If you like the video, hit the like and sub buttons below. Helps out a ton, and I'll see you all again soon on stream. Peace.